Welcome to a new class of the Retrograde Planet chapter in Module 3. Today we are going to discuss about Venus retrograde. So we know that Venus, she is the ruler of Taurus and Libra. Venus is a bright planet that the ancients were amazed to measure and to describe in very mystical decodation legends. Venus is a feminine planet, feminine energy representer, the opposite of Mars, because Venus is the ruler of Libra, the opposite of Mars that ruled by the opposite of Aries that ruled by Mars. So when Venus retrograde, this is a time that we are re-inspecting relationship, and we also need to handle with things of Taurus that related to money. Those are some astrologers that investigated and saw a massive amount of divorce and breaking relationship during Venus retrograde. And some are saying that is related to bankruptcies and major losses during Venus retrograde. Of course, I'm going to show you on the chart how during the last years Venus behaved in the market behaved in a period of Venus retrograde, and we will be able to investigate and to contemplate, to be more familiar with those events. In last module, we also learned aspects with Venus, that when Venus is interacting with certain planets, it can create bearish environment or bullish one. Also, I mentioned and stressed the topic of Venus in Module 1. We also have from Module 2 the indication of exaltation, detriment, and fall position. So Venus is the ruler of Libra and Taurus, is exalted in Pisces and falling in Virgo. Virgo is the opposite of Pisces, and Venus is falling in Virgo. In Pisces, this is unconditional love. In Virgo, this is criticism. But also Venus is detriment in Aries and in Scorpio. Why? Because Aries is the opposite of Libra, where Venus rules, and the opposite of Scorpio, the opposite of Taurus that Venus rules. So Venus is detriment in Aries and Scorpio and falling in Virgo. Aries, Scorpio, and Virgo are not good position for Venus that needs to invest more energy in a way, or people need to be more aware about relationships and value of things and market situation. To start, we are going to AstroGold and we are going to investigate when Venus was retrograde, and we are seeing that Venus will turns retrograde at 4 degrees of Leo in July 2023. Next, Venus will turn direct. It will take another month at least to cover the place that it retrograded in September 2023. So something is expected for us, as I'm recording this video in 2022, in this period that we may question what will happen during this time, because Venus retrograde is a very significant event for values and relationship. Beyond every planet will have a phase of retrograde, but we are going to look on what happened in previous periods to investigate it. But before this, Venus turns retrograde in December 19th and move direct in the end of January 2022. So it was almost a period of more than a month, but because of the stationary before the U-turn, it takes more. We're going to see what happened in the chart that actually brought all crypto market down, and not just crypto, a lot of stocks started falling down after this Venus retrograde phase. But it was related to more events that I will not cover in this class. So I'm taking us back far away, because Venus is not like Mercury that every 3.5, 4 months retrograde, is every 18 months. So we need to give more examples. So I drew already by doing one by one with solar, with AstroGold, to mark on the chart of Bitcoin what was happening in this period of Venus retrograde. So Venus was retrograde here in July and into September. Of course, I took here always 1 month before. I extended it 1 month before and 1 month after to illustrate the period of Venus retrograde. And what happened here in Bitcoin? Bitcoin in 2015 was $300 and it fell 50% to $160. Well done. We are continuing, and here is another period of Venus retrograde, and notice that we are looking on a weekly chart. So we're speaking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, almost 8 candles, 8 weeks, okay? Also here it was about 8 weeks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, okay, I gave it more here. It's around 8, 9 weeks, 9 candles. And this what happened in the period of February 17 to April 17. A drop of 30% in the middle, but it also was a rally of 20%. So it was pretty much zigzag, but we are seeing weeks of uncertainty, no gains. Then we are going 18 months ahead, 1.5 years. In 2018, the market fell finally 15% from $6,000 to $3,000. And it was 2018, Venus retrograde in October 5th. So I give a bit before, and until November 16, 2018. November is here, but I'm giving 3 weeks more because until it's covered the retrograde area, and this is what we got finally in this phase. It's not, the fall is not happening directly as we saw here. We had a drastic drop of 50%. We are going to the next Venus retrograde. Here is again double period. I took 1 month before and 1 month after, and we are seeing also the correlation. It's like a zigzag like in the previous one that we saw in 2017. Very interesting phenomenon. Market again fell from 10,000 to 60% fell. Venus retrograde phase. And this happened, let's have just a look, in we are speaking about the crisis of 2020 from February. And we saw already that it was also with Mercury retrograde in the previous class, right? It was Mercury retrograde in this period plus Venus retrograde. We got 60% drop together with the craziness in the world. So this started in May 2020. Mercury retrograde was here, but then it was retrograde from May 13, and I'm taking 1 month before. That's what I want to show you, that Venus is, all the assumption that is always dropping is not correct, is also having opposite direction. And we remember that during this Venus retrograde of 2020, it was a major rally in the altcoins, 100 and thousands of percentage. It's moved direct in June 25th, and I'm taking few candles more. And here is the period of Venus retrograde. And then we are going to the next level, 18 months after, and we got the November 15 that I took 1 month before, to the end of January, that I also can take 2 candles more. And this was the crash that took Bitcoin from 66,000 to 33, 50% drop, and it just initiated another leg down, but is maybe related to another events that could be measured. So what we actually saw here, could we, based only on Venus retrograde, to predict a drop in the market? Even that we are seeing that is classic when a planet, specifically like Venus and Mercury, to have a drop, sometimes we will have a rally. And we saw, if we will check some altcoins, we may find that during this time they did hundreds of percentage in this period. And this was exceptional, I think, because Venus in 2020 retrograde in Taurus. What you are seeing right now is Lahiri is the Vedic astrology. And I'm also respecting the Vedic astrology to explain phenomena, because this is from the Earth point of view. And all the retrograde phase that we are considering is from Earth point of view. But if I'm going back to the tropical, Venus actually retrograde in Gemini. It started in Gemini and finished in 5 degrees of Gemini in June 2020, what led to a major rally in many places. But from the Vedic astrology, Venus is 23 degrees back, and Venus is thriving in Taurus. And when it retrograde there, it could take from the underworld, I would guess, a lot of wealth. There are different ways to interpret it. We also can learn from what literally happened. It was very unusual time after Mercury retrograded, fell the market into such levels, and all the major rally that we saw after this, that is insane, right? Look how the previous Venus retrograde looks, so small and less important, of 2015. It was here a drop. It was here a drop. It was here a drop. Here it was exception. It was a very different Venus retrograde. And here it was bigger because just giving the perspective, because we are in much higher prices right now, so it looks bigger, but it was another 50% drop period exactly. And we are going to have another Venus retrograde here in July. I took it from July, even it's happening in August and September. Okay, so you don't need to believe me right now, and specifically if you are soon to watch it in those months. But I put it here, the cube. Maybe it will be here. I will not tell now. We will learn. And something here, if it's going to a market to arrive here, something should drop here, probably significantly. We also could imagine what will happen in the next retrograde of Venus. Venus to retrograde on July 22nd, 2023 until September 3rd, 2023. In which sign it's going to retrograde? In Leo. Venus like being in Leo, but is very dangerous. Leo is ruling the heart, ruling government, authorities, leaders. And when Venus will retrograde there, we may lose leaders, we may lose fathers. And we also want to look from the Vedic astrology. This is unexpected addition that I'm popping here just to give material of thought. If Venus to retrograde from 28 degrees, we know that 28 degrees in Leo is the end of Leo. So also from sidereal point of view, Vedic astrology is 23 degrees less. So also from Vedic astrology, it will start to retrograde from 5 degrees. From 5 degrees, it will go back to Cancer. In tropical astrology, it will be a retrograde completely in Leo. This is something deeper to predict right now. Venus in Cancer is about changes of structure and money, and it will be very interesting to connect it with more aspects that are happening. It's not just about the Venus events. Let's have a look in the daily perspective during the period of Venus retrograde. This is of 2020. Here is 2018. And here is 2021. Maybe you arrive to see here something, specifically when you will connect on the same chart Mercury timing in one color and Venus retrograde in one color. I will ask you later on in this chapter some question that I want you to research and to detect the timing and what happened in the market in specific assets. So this will make sure that you are involved with such research and connecting dates on the chart. I see you in the next class speaking about Mars retrograde.